Welcome to Blue Collar Catholic. This is the place where we defend Catholic theology, faith, and morals. I have a few subscribers that have told me they really don't like when I talk about politics. They want me to stick to Catholicism. But I promise you, whenever I veer off into something political, it's always because it ties in with our faith. And if you watch this video to the end, you'll see how it all ties in. So recently, LeBron James criticized the general manager of the Houston Rockets, Daryl Worley, for tweeting out support for the freedom-loving people of Hong Kong. I'm like, wow, this is how far the left in this country has come, where they're criticizing people for supporting democracy. LeBron James said, well, I don't think Daryl should comment on this. He's uneducated and misinformed on the situation. And this is where I tell LeBron James, you're misinformed. So I'm going to use this video to inform you. What you're saying is so ridiculous that I don't even know where to begin, but I will try. With China itself. Today in China, millions and millions of Muslims are imprisoned in what they call re-education camps. Literally concentration camps where these Muslims are tortured for one reason, because they're Muslims and they're practicing their faith. The women are raped and forced to have abortions. And then the Chinese government are harvesting these aborted babies and selling their body parts in the same way Planned Parenthood is selling body parts in America, which was uncovered by my hero David Dalton in his undercover videos. We know this is a fact. So in China, they've taken away the freedom of speech, freedom of religion. They have no freedoms there. The only freedom they have is because they were going to collapse like the Soviet Union, but our politicians in all their wisdom 30 years ago thought, well, if we export capitalism over there, they'll eventually have to be free. Once they get a taste of capitalism, they'll want freedom, which was a horrible calculation, and I knew it was wrong. I watched Ronald Reagan defeat the communist Soviet Union, not by helping them, but by fighting them, in the Cold War, where we just competed with them militarily, and they just couldn't keep up, and they folded, and now they're free. So, much freer than they were. But they had a different plan. Our politicians in all their wisdom, which I'm sure many of them got their pockets greased with this, but we'll export capitalism, and then eventually they'll take on our values, because we'll have American companies over there, and we'll export our values. But the reverse has happened. So, as Pope Francis calls it, LeBron James is bowing to the almighty dollar. The NBA is bowing to the almighty dollar because they love NBA basketball over there, and they got all these big $1 million contracts. So instead of standing up for freedom and American values, they're bowing to communist values. I mean, the simplest, basic value of America is freedom of speech. Wow, LeBron, are you serious? You're criticizing someone for standing up for freedom of speech? You see, when Britain gave Hong Kong back to the Chinese in 1997, they had an agreement. For 50 years, you'll let them remain free as they are. So the evil communists in China can't come over and impose their communism. So that would be 2047. And recently they started trying to infringe on their freedoms. So these freedom-loving Hong Kong people are literally waving American flags. They built a Statue of Liberty. They love America because we stand for freedom. And LeBron James, you're going to criticize a guy that's going to stand with them? This just blows my mind. But it doesn't surprise me, LeBron, that you're misinformed, because in America, there's an African-American genocide going on today led by Planned Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood, if you all don't know this by now, was started by Margaret Sanger, who used to talk and give speeches for the KKK. The KKK loved her, and she loved them because, quote, Margaret Sanger said, colored people are human weeds and they need to be exterminated. So we'll set up these clinics and we'll put them in poor black neighborhoods. And that's why today, LeBron, today, New York City aborts more black babies than are born. There's a black genocide. And you're supporting the party, the Democrats, who love this, and you're criticizing the man, Donald Trump. You call the bum. Who's stopping this? 2018 was the lowest amount of abortions in America since Roe v. Wade. And it's no coincidence that Donald Trump is president, because he put in hundreds of federal judges that upheld the conservative states who are banning abortion or limiting abortions. See, before Barack Obama was putting on all these liberal judges, and they were striking down all these laws. So the man that's trying to save your race is the man you're criticizing. And here you're praising the Chinese government. I mean, this is just so out of whack. So I know this is hard for you to believe, LeBron, that the Democrats are the true racists that want to kill your race, especially how the media portrays things. Like if you remember earlier in the year, former Vice President Joe Biden was criticized for saying he worked with racist segregationists. It was James Eastland and Herman Talmadge, I believe, back in the 70s. And everybody criticized him because he worked with these racist segregationists. What the news didn't tell you were these racist segregationists were Democrat senators. Okay? What the news doesn't tell you that Robert Byrd was a grand wizard of the KKK, and as late as 1989, the Democrats elected him as their majority leader, just like McConnell's the majority leader today. So, wasn't they had a few racists, they had to have enough racists in the Democrat Party in 1989 to vote for a former grand wizard to be the head of the Democrats in the Senate. And he stayed a Democrat till he died in 2010. This is Robert Byrd. Google him, grand wizard of KKK. Okay? And it doesn't surprise me that you're misinformed, LeBron, because I watched CNN do a special on George Wallace, the racist governor of Alabama in the 70s, and by the side of his name they put an R for Republican. He was a Democrat. And my son said, man, that's so blatant that they're lying to the people. And I said, it's blatant, but the guy doing the graphics might be a young kid right out of college, and he's misinformed. He just assumed, because he's brainwashed in college, that the Republicans are the racists. And you say, well, Trump says some really insensitive things about blacks. Trump says insensitive things about everybody. White men, white women, black women. He's that's his personality. I'm not agreeing with it. But who would you rather have in office? Someone who's allowing the genocide of black babies, ripping them apart, and says all the politically correct things about blacks? Or someone who's a little insensitive, but's trying to protect the black race? So, LeBron, you're the one misinformed. And even today, you see it in the Democrat Party. In New York State this year, they just passed a bill to allow abortions through the 9th month and beyond. So if the baby's born and the mother decides she don't want it, they let the baby die. This is a fact. And the Democrats gave that a standing ovation. Same thing in Rhode Island. They hugged each other and cried. We get to kill babies all the way to the 9th month. This is how excited the Democrats were. Then you have Beto O'Rourke saying what most of these Democrat leaders believe, but they're afraid to say it. He said, if churches don't believe what we believe, we'll take away their tax exemption. Yeah, just like the communists. You got to believe what the government believes, or we'll take away your church exemption. He said, yeah, if they don't believe in gay marriage, we'll take it away. They preach against abortion, we'll take it away. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is no wonder, LeBron, you're misinformed, because you're being informed by people who embrace communist values, not American values. In communist China, when they took over, they slaughtered 40 million people. Then they took away their guns, the ones that were alive, and then they took away their churches, mosques, and synagogues. And this is where we're heading with the left in America. But thank God there's enough freedom-loving Americans that won't allow it to happen. My prediction is Trump will win in a landslide. So, again, LeBron James, you need to get informed and stop worshiping the almighty dollar that the Chinese are showing you and giving you, and put American values first. We made you rich. You don't need any more money. Come on. Stand up for what's right. American values, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly. These are the things that the Hong Kong people are trying to stand up for today. And they gave them 50 years because we consider a generation 40 years. So they gave them a generation plus 10 years so they can leave. And these people want to come here because they know America stands for freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, the right to bear arms and protect your family. Everything that your side, the Democrat Party, is standing against. And take a look at the black genocide that's happening today. The black race is the only minority race that's in decline. Asians are growing in population, Hispanics are growing in population. The blacks, ever since Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood planted these seeds, and that's just grown, where they're slaughtering African American babies like 3-to-1 to white babies. This is what's happening in America today. So please get informed. God bless.